Hey everyone, today we're going to be dealing with fractions and percentages. Again, we're in cycle 1B and our content standard is 6.C.2, which just states that we can fluently compute or use addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division with positive fractions and decimals. Today we're going to focus on fractions and percentages. All right, so here we have a chart showing 45%. Again, this 45% just means we have 45 out of 100 pieces of something. So if you look here, this is a typical 100s chart. We have 4 rows of 10, which is giving us 40, and then an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So 45 out of 100 pieces, or if we want to do it as a bar graph, here we go. We've got 10, 20, 30, 40%. Get 10 across, and then another half of a bar being another 5%. So again, a percentage is just a ratio, which can also be a fancy name for a fraction, that just shows whatever number in comparison to 100 of the same thing. So to write a percentage as a fraction, first we're just going to write the percentage as a rate per 100, then simplify. For example, we've got 45%. Well, 45, like we showed before, out of 100 is 45 100ths, or 45 over 100. Now all we have to do to write this percentage as a fraction is simplify. Again, this is a fraction, but we want to simplify always to get our answer in simplest or lowest terms. So, to simplify a fraction, all we need to do is consider the numbers that make it up and see if we can find factors that we can divide both the top and the bottom by to get our newly named number. So, we have 45 over 100. For me personally, every time I see a 5 or a 0, I am going to change that I'm going to divide by 5. Because I know anything with a 5 or a 0 at the end is divisible by 5. So I'm going to divide by 5 over 5. Much like we renamed fractions by multiplying the top and the bottom by the same thing, if we divide the bottom and the top by the same number, it's like dividing by the number 1, which again, anything divided by 1 is still itself. It just may look a little different. So 45 divided by 5, if we go across, will give us 9. 100 divided by 5 will give us 20. So 45% is equal to 9/20ths of something. Now, this is my answer in lowest terms. I happen to know because I know the only factors of 9 are 1, 9, and 3. My factors of 20 are 1, 25, and 4, and none of those numbers overlap besides 1, and he's kind of if I divide each number by 1, I get the same thing, so that doesn't help me out at all. Since I don't have any common factors to divide by, my number is in lowest terms. That's all you have to do to simplify out a percentage as a fraction. All right, so let's try one. Let's have you try one on your own here. All right. Again, a percentage is a ratio that compares a number to 100 of something. So, our example now, 55%. Well, we've got to figure out how many out of 100 that is so we can get our fraction to begin with. Again, here's our hundreds chart. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows would be 50, and then an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 55 out of 100, or again, 50% and another 5%, another half a square. Each of those are 10, so that would be another 5. So we have 55 pieces out of 100, or 55 100ths. But again, we're not done there. This does give us a fraction, but we always want our fraction in simplest terms. So, to write our percentage as a fraction, we're going to first write the percentage as a rate per 100, like we did before. So we have 55 100ths. And then we're going to simplify. And remember, all we need to do to simplify is to take our number, find things we can divide both numbers by, find factors they have in common, divide those out until we can't divide by any common factors anymore, and then we have our simplest form. Again, I've got a 5 and zeros. Let's start out with that and see what we get to. So, I have 55. Let's divide this by, make that a division sign, sorry, 5 over 5 again. So again, I have a 5 and I have a 0. I know these numbers are both divisible by 5. So 55 divided by 5, that would be 5 times 11. Happen to know that one in my head. If you need to run out the long division, that's totally fine. And 5 into 100, well, we've done this a couple times and I happen to know that is 20. Now, fancy thing about the number 11 is what we call a prime number, like the numbers 3 and 7, 11 being 5. 11 being the next one, well, these numbers that are not divisible by anything other than themselves and the number 1. You can't multiply any two things besides 11 and 1 together to get 11, at least not when we're dealing with whole numbers. 11 being prime means that I can't simplify this any further. Even though 20 has different factors that I could use, 11 does not. I can't divide them by the same thing. That means my fraction now is in lowest terms. So 11/20ths would be the fraction in lowest terms that goes with 55%. You're going to do that today, so make sure you go back and watch that again if that was a little confusing to you, or check this during office hours today, and we'll move on. Now, what if I want to convert a fraction into a percent? We're going to go backwards now. Well, we just need to create an equivalent ratio or fraction with 100 as the denominator. So let's try converting the 6/8 into a percentage. So first we need to simplify this guy. Then we're going to create an equivalent fraction with 100 as the denominator. And we're going to convert that into the percentage. Because remember, if we have anything over 100, we're showing the pieces out of 100, which means it is literally a percent. It's of 100. So first thing we need to do is simplify this guy down to simplest terms. And I'll show you why. So we have 6 divided by 8. These are both even numbers. So I know I can divide by 2. So we're going to start off, we're going to divide 6 and 8 by 2. Again, we'll divide the top and the bottom by the same thing, because this is like dividing by the number 1. It doesn't change my actual value, even though my number is going to look a little bit different. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I have the number 3/4. Now, I did a whole step of work. Why did I want to get the simplest form? Well, the thing about simplest form is when I got a small number down here, it's easier for me to figure out what I can multiply it by to get to 100. Now, 4s are really easy for me when I'm going into 100 because I know quarters. And if I have 4 quarters, I have 100 cents or $1. I think all of you probably know that one too. So I'm going to multiply my top and my bottom by 25. I'm going to do that because I know that my 4 times 25 is going to give me 100 as my denominator, and that's what I'm shooting for to find a percentage. So I have 100 over here, 3 times 25. Well, I could go out and do the long division, but I also know that 3/4 is 75 cents. Don't really need to run out the multiplication when you know them in your head. I have 75 out of 100, and remember, out of 100 just means percent, so I can just write my number without the 100 at the bottom and put the percentage sign. So ladies and gents, 75% would be the percentage that goes with the fraction 6/8. Now we're going to have you do some of these on your own today as we go on into your independent practice today. Make sure if you need to go back, watch this again, run through. Remember, it's all about finding factors of your numbers to multiply or divide by to get your either simplified fraction or to make that number with 100 at the bottom to create a percentage. Again, we'll be available for office hours if you have any other questions. Try the guided practice below. That'll give you another chance to work with me on a few, and then you'll have some independent practice for the day. Good luck.